If you're tired of struggling with you being confident consistently every single day, you have to learn how to reassure yourself. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. So welcome or welcome back. It is your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to be confident or to reassure yourself or to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates, as well as leave the rest, and grab your pen and your paper and be prepared to take notes. In this video specifically, we're going to go over 3 to 5 recommendations on what you should do to reassure yourself, just as much as being aware of what that looks like to you. The first thing you have to be aware of in order for you to reassure yourself is that you are able to be vulnerable. You cannot deny or invalidate how you feel, even if that's doubt, fear, scarcity, poverty, lack, anything that's insecure, anything that lowers your vibration, anything that is not currently with who you want to be, in alignment with who you want to be, You have to be honest in order for you to reassure yourself. Why? Because the more you practice being honest, the more you practice being practical, the more you're able to be aware of how you genuinely feel and what's going on, the more you learn to be comfortable with accepting who you are and embracing who you are, which then gives you the confidence to show up as yourself every single day, regardless of how people perceive you or even you perceive yourself. Reassuring yourself builds confidence. If you are somebody who does feel doubt and insecurity and doesn't always feel good all day, every day, a lot of people don't realize that you have to choose confidence. You have to choose happiness. You have to choose things in life that raise your frequency if this is not something that you were taught and shown. And if you weren't taught and shown, that is okay. Why? Because your past is your past. If you experience anxiety and depression and you are insecure, you're uncertain because you were bullied or you've been programmed a certain way of living from your parents, your family, and friends, that doesn't have to resonate with you anymore. And this is another reason why it's important to reassure yourself, because just because people said things to you, just because people done things to you, doesn't mean that you have to receive it or that's who you are. When you can foster a sense of independence, you could cope through resilience. You could develop your own capabilities by reinforcing any challenges from people, places, and things, or even yourself your way. The second thing you have to realize when you reassure yourself, and you guys, I have my phone right here, I wrote down the notes, is that when you learn to be vulnerable, you can work on your weaknesses. You don't have to feel embarrassed or ashamed. Everybody has things that they're good at, and then there are some things that everybody can learn from ourselves and others that we can improve. Just because you don't know certain things, or just because you don't always feel confident all the time, doesn't make you less of a person. So I would just recommend that when you are learning to reassure yourself, when you learn to be vulnerable, you learn to be honest, that you don't put so much pressure on yourself when it comes to judging yourself. Just because certain people do and say certain things, once again, doesn't mean that it's compatible with who you are. And a lot of times when people are not confident themselves, they're going to project, they're going to deflect, whether it's subconsciously, consciously, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, physically, financially. And a lot of times when you come from environments and communities who lack self-awareness or are not wanting to educate themselves and become better, they just project that onto you. Some people do it intentionally because they are malicious, and then some people do it because that's just how they are. So if you are wanting to learn how to be beautiful inside and out, and you want to do certain things, and people, let's just say, have a poverty mindset or a lack mindset or unaware mindset or an ignorant, naive mindset, they're going to project that onto you. And a lot of times when you don't know who you are, when you're not able to reassure yourself, when you're not vulnerable, when you're not honest, when you don't have discernment, you'll think that's you. Like, you ever surround yourself with certain people, places, and things who didn't mean you well, And the longer you surround yourself with them, the more you start to pick up on their energy. A lot of people don't realize that. That's why it's really important to be mindful of who you surround yourself with. Now, of course, our family members, our coworkers, our friends, a lot of times we don't get to pick them. But this is why when you're in settings around certain people, places, and things, and you know in your gut, in your soul, in your spirit that you're not compatible with them, to keep your distance, to keep a level of professionalism, and to realize that you're not meant to be in these environments and around these people forever. Learn what you need to learn when you're around certain people and places and things, because you're only meant to be around them for a season, and continue to move forward. Once again, this doesn't make them bad people. This doesn't make you bad people, but you will not be able to continue to have this natural form of confidence when you are not assured of yourself. So the third thing you have to realize as you're reassuring yourself is that you have to learn how to cope with not always being confident. Rather that's through discipline, rather that's through resting, rather that's taking the time, like I said, to articulate how you feel with a therapist, finding a guidance counselor, finding somebody that you trust and confiding, having Bible study, going to God, ancestors, the universe, take what resonates, leave the rest, because we don't force religion or spirituality, booking a service with me, your favorite mental health specialist. But you have to find ways to cope when you reassure yourself, because like I said, when you're used to a toxic way of living, or you're used to a way of doing some things, and you want to unlearn that information and learn new information, you're going to go through a period of withdrawals. It's going to feel uncomfortable in the beginning. You're not going to be 100% confident, like I said, if you didn't have that already, or if you were confident and you made certain choices by surrounding yourself with certain people, places, things, and maybe you got distracted, maybe you lost sight of who you were, or maybe you realized that you outgrew certain people. You have to be okay with outgrowing certain people in order for you to reassure yourself, because the people that you are meant to be in relationships with and the environments that you are meant to thrive in don't have a problem with doing that. It's really important that people encourage this type of behavior, because when you're in relationships with people and you communicate, like I said, you take the time to be vulnerable, you take the time to be honest, you take the time to realize what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. When you're in relationships with people, or when you're in certain environments, they will be understanding. The whole purpose of somebody reassuring you is to validate you, is to remove any doubt or any fears that you have about yourself or what it is that you're experiencing. So it's just like, ladies, when you're in a relationship with men or whatever you like, and vice versa, know that in the beginning, that is important, but over time, you have to have a sense of trust. Reassuring yourself is having a sense of trust. Because don't get it twisted, it's nothing wrong with people reassuring you, but people reassuring you is not going to hit the same if you don't reassure yourself. Learning to reassure yourself, once again, allows you to become resilient. It allows you, like I said, to have a form of independence. When you regulate your emotions, you don't have to self-sabotage yourself in people, places, and things. But when you invalidate that you are insecure, or maybe you are afraid, or you have been programmed to be in a low vibration, or you've been around low vibrational people, you're constantly going to be confused. And you have to realize anything that confuses you is not for you. Anything that causes confusion, it's not for you. And what I mean by that, and I may make that into a separate video, let me know if you guys want me to elaborate more into that after what I'm about to say. But it's like, anything that causes you to be not 100% certain, you need to be like, why do you feel this way? So an example, if I ask you what your name is, you don't have to think about that. If I ask you what you want to be in life, that means you don't know. And that's what I mean by anything that confuses you is not for you, because you're not sure of it and it won't work out. You can't be confused when you reassure yourself. I hope you guys caught that, because that may go over a lot of y'all heads. But if you caught it, clock it, as the kids would like to say. Learning to reassure yourself will allow you to be content with yourself and genuinely be okay with yourself. And over here, because we don't fake it until we make it, the more you practice this, the more, like I said, you spend time with yourself, the more you articulate what's going on with you, how you feel, what you want to work on, you'll get better. So your homework assignment is to let me know what are some things that you may not be 100% confident in that you want to work towards. When you figure out what it is that you dislike about yourself or some things that you lack about yourself, the next thing you could do now is figure out, okay, how does it make me feel? I need you to figure out, how does it make you feel that you lack certain things or you're not really as confident in certain areas of your life? So therefore, when you allow yourself to express yourself, you can come up with solutions. Learning how to reassure yourself, like I said, if you're not somebody who's confident every day and you struggle with that, it's going to take time. But at least we then know what it is, how it makes us feel, and what could we do daily. So with that being said, you guys, my camera got cut off. Learn to be patient with yourself. Learn to take time to build a relationship with yourself before you build relationships with people, places, and things. And just most importantly, work towards things that you do not like about yourself or things that you want to improve. And once you change the way that you feel about yourself and how you're looking at your current circumstances or your situations that you don't feel confident in, you'll learn to realize that sometimes people lack confidence because you weren't shown and taught. Sometimes you lack confidence because you don't know. And learning to reassure yourself is unfamiliar. It doesn't have to be scary. Doesn't have to be challenging, and the more you work towards that, the better you'll get at that. So let me know about this video specifically that you learn. Let me know about this video. Let me know what about this video, excuse me, I'm not gonna edit this, that you learned about this video, what it is that we need to work towards. What are some things that you're insecure about? Like, do not be afraid, like I said, to be vulnerable. You should never feel embarrassed or ashamed. This is a judge-free place. Anybody who has anything negative to say just doesn't like themselves, and you don't need to allow that to disturb your peace. As well as follow me on all social media platforms. All the information will be down in the description box below, as well as my website if you're interested in a service in a session. Thank you guys for booking your services and sessions. Make sure you read your email so you understand the booking policy and your appointment and what is expected of you. Okay, and if you're not able to afford a service in a session, head to my Instagram or my TikTok. DM me on Instagram about any questions or comments, concerns for confidential, experience, or just somebody to confide in, because it's just like sometimes too, when you're learning how to reassure yourself and you don't feel safe and seen and heard, you do feel like embarrassed, or you do have like trust issues, and that's what we want to not do moving forward. We want to learn how to reassure ourselves, so therefore we can just learn how to communicate. And once again, anybody who judges you or shames you for needing reassurance sometimes, especially when you're learning and you're healing yourself from trauma and trials and tribulations, is not the person for you. But make sure you guys follow me on my Instagram and on my TikTok. I will be going live, answer you guys' questions if I didn't answer them and you guys are not engaging in the comment section down below. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.